Concerning what we have found, the medical examiner's report determined that there was bruising along the neck and a broken neck bone, which means that he indeed, we're learning, we're working on gathering additional evidence to see what that actually means. I'll stop there and open it up to myself or the attorneys or any of the members of the family for questions.
So you just used the word lynching. Hate crime has also been thrown out there. What makes you think that's the case as opposed to other possibilities at this point?
Yeah, I don't think it's the case. To answer your question, I don't know that lynching or a hate crime is in fact the case. What we discovered was that Mr. Magee came into this county on September 11th, and he died by hanging from his neck. The sheriff concluded early on, and we believe prematurely, that it seemed to be a suicide to him. Well, that doesn't seem to be a suicide for me. I don't know too many 21-year-old gainfully employed, happy individuals that travel into North Carolina, buy a rope, and kill themselves. That would be an oddity. It's a possibility, but we would need more evidence before we jump to that conclusion. My job, the reason I was hired, was to investigate a lynching, to investigate the possibility of a hate crime, and to direct the family to wherever the evidence goes.
You heard from the sheriff about the timetable leading up to this, but actually not entirely where it's coming from. Can you kind of put together, at least from the family standpoint, beforehand, from the last time you were in contact with them and kind of the timetable that you've been able to figure out?
Yeah, the sheriff should be releasing a detailed timeline today to the media. I don't know if they'll be having a press conference themselves, but they have indicated to us that a timeline will be released as best as they can gather through their investigation. So, as relates speaking to the family, my understanding Javion was excited about going to Houston, Texas as many times with his cousins. So there's no indication whatsoever that he had any ulterior motives or ulterior thoughts as to whether he had any thoughts of self-demise. So there's nothing here, and this. Let me be very clear. This is why Ms. Magee, Ms. Robeson, and her husband are here. The family's here. Because there's no indication whatsoever in 21 years he was on earth that they brought him here and raised him to show any signs if he would commit suicide. That's why they're here. So to be very clear, there's nothing, no mental health, anything that compassion, no depression. And like Lee said, a 21-year-old is working, gainfully employed, gonna come to rural North Carolina and say, you know what, I'm gonna get it all here. Doesn't make sense. Any other questions?
Walmart surveillance video. I mean, that's the last video we see of them. There's no one knows it better than his family. Have they been able to figure out anything from his demeanor or kind of thoughts on that?
The Walmart video, that's the last video that y'all have seen, as the media have seen this time. But there's other videos that the family have in fact received before he's going to the Hampton Inn. The question is, what was he doing there in that location? Well, he went to the Hampton Inn. They had no room, so he went to where traditionally truck drivers that's coming through here would go. And normally, if you would go, it doesn't make sense to go around with other truck drivers would be at to go kill yourself. If you're going to kill yourself, you find a road down here that nobody's down, and you do it down there. I mean, it does. The facts and the things doesn't make sense as to a mentality, a mindset of a person who's wanting to kill themselves. Now, I understand about the buying a rope at Walmart as a truck driver. It's a lot of reasonable explanations for that. You got a lot of times these trucks, and Dad is a seasoned truck driver. A lot of trucks have universal keys that other keys from other trucks can open if it's the same make and model. So if I'm sleeping in the middle of nowhere, you got to think about it. If you're sleeping in the middle of nowhere in a truck and somebody else can possibly get in your truck, you go around safety with numbers. So it's a lot of reasonable explanations that we believe why a rope was purchased. I know with the optics, it looks like you get a rope, the next thing you found hanging from a tree. And if somebody can jump that conclusion. But I went to school in North Carolina Central School of Law. I think it's the best law school in the nation. It's definitely North Carolina. You don't jump. Now, I know you may not agree. You don't jump from buying a rope at Walmart and somebody hanging and say they committed suicide. We got things called evidence and facts that we must go through. And what was lacked here at the beginning of his family, the evidence, the facts have not been developed before you make a conclusion that he killed himself. Not on my watch, not on Lee's watch. And that's exactly why we're here to support this family.
I want to just further your question concerning the timeline. And it's important that the sheriff's office should release a timeline. There's evidence, there's witnesses, there's additional video showing up to almost hours before his death. And so there is a more clear timeline. I'm sorry, from the time that we suppose that his death took place. Yes, sir.
Is there evidence that he was physically beat? Is there evidence that he was physically beat in the face of ground body area?
We are still in the investigation in terms of gathering evidence concerning whether or not he was assaulted. In terms of his physical body, there's bruising about his body that could be consistent with him hanging from a tree and being exposed to the elements for an extended period of time. There's also an additional way to translate that evidence to say that he was bruised or hurt or injured by others.
Yeah, are you pursuing an independent autopsy?
At this time, no. Yes, ma'am. Depending on the outcome of the investigation, we are speaking with the family and considering additional legal action.
Question. Based on what the sheriff is saying, is he able to say more to the public, or he's pretty much limited what he can say to the public?
Well, I don't say necessarily think he's limited what he can say to the public. You got to be mindful that it is an ongoing investigation. You don't want certain things that put out there to disturb that investigation. So those are things that you don't understand as law enforcement, that you don't want to put certain things out just in case you have a lead for a possible suspect. So we definitely appreciate and understand that that aspect. But this is something that also that we have to take into consideration. You know, as this thing continues to play out and more evidence come in, and if authorities, you know, maybe need additional help, that's something we may be seeking redress from the Department of Justice to ensure that a federal bureau investigation come in, because they are usually the lead people investigating these type of matters, especially when you're talking about a hate crime, specifically in the federal laws. I don't know if North Carolina have any hate crime statutes or things that capacity, but I know the federal government, the federal codes, in fact, do, and that's something we may be invoking, considering what the facts and the evidence may lead us.
Concerning the sheriff's statements to the public, I think that the sheriff has been rather cavalier about the evidence that he chose to release, and he's released in a very piecemeal manner that has actually caused this confusion. I find it distracting that he seems to be more focused on what's being said on TikTok than his responsibility here as the sheriff to get to the bottom of the what happened and then get that information quickly to the family, even before he gets them to the media. I would advise him not to do that or to change his practice concerning
But do
that.
y'all have privilege of the information that the public does not?
Yes.
No questions. Look, you try to hold the questions to the media. I know you may have a lot of people have questions, but in the media have to get to the questions.
So,
When was the last time that the family spoke to Javion before he made his way to Anderson?
Well, that's something to talk to.
Talked to him maybe a couple of days before this.
More than that, a couple of days before it happened. You know the questions?
so the sheriff or the representative for the family said that in the preliminary information that they had gotten regarding the autopsy, that there was nothing found under the fingernails, and that was caused.
Who said that?
The family representative, Candace Matthews.
Okay.
And she said that there was nothing found under the fingernails, and that was more cause for a suspect of foul play. Why is that? And if that's the case, why aren't you guys seeking your own separate autopsy?
Well, I think the question is, why is there any, you say independent wounds or anything, defensive wounds? I think that's what you're referring to. From my understanding, from the investigators, from the preliminary findings, there was nothing to that capacity. Just because they have not been done this time, don't mean it's not ruled out. I think the family now is in possession of Javion's body, and we're going to explore every angle, position to determine what happened. And I think from the initial statements we made, might have been premature, but here we are the representatives of the family, and anything that happens moving forward, we want to speak on behalf of the family.
And I'm sorry, at this time we have not performed an independent autopsy as the body has been in the possession of the medical examiner. We are in the process of recovering the body, and the family does plan to move forward with an independent autopsy at that time. What we have been told is what you've heard from the sheriff, that there were no defensive wounds on the body. Thank you.
Did you know that Javion was traveling in a truck at Walmart? Do you know where his cannabis was when he was coming?
Well, according to the timeline, he was going to the Hampton Inn here, and I don't know where it's exactly located at, but Hampton Inn is fairly close to the Walmart Supercenter here.
Yes.
I think about a half a mile. After that, that was his intentions. He went there. He got out of his truck. He walked. It's on camera. He walked in with his bag, with his belongings, and he had a brief conversation with the clerk. And to my understanding, upon investigation by the Vance County Sheriff Office, that the clerk told him that there was no vacancies, no availability. So those are things that that we believe that he had intentions to stay there. But for the vacancies, he ended up going to, and it's not a truck stop. Let me be very clear. It's a common known area, I guess, where truckers go. I think, yeah. So I think the truck stop thing is not really a truck stop. So he went over there, and that's a normal practice for people that's hauling loads through here that would stop over there. So at some point, he obviously knew that that is a location. And usually truckers, and Dad can tell you this, truckers feel safer in numbers. You know, it doesn't make sense for a person who, you know, who had this ideology or mindset to kill themselves to come around with other people for safety in numbers. So, I mean, in that case, the person you need to be safe from is yourself. Why would you go around other people?
Based on the other surveillance videos that you guys have seen, are there other people or is there another person that people should be looking for, that investigators are looking for? Any cell phone records? Any indication that he has any other ties maybe, or there was another person involved?
There's other people that had an opportunity to speak to Javion as such. So they have speak to those people concerning those leads. However, as relates to other surveillance videos, dealing with any suspects, not at this time, not that we have been shown, doesn't mean it won't develop. Like I told you guys before, you go to Walmart or whatever the case may be, you go there, you purchase a rope, and you end up being hanging from a tree. You know, there's a lot of questions that's in between. Anything that transpired in between, you know, concerns that things to be considered. But at the end of the day, our main focus here, you know, and don't take anything away from this. Find out what happened in Javion. This family is not here to point the fingers at the sheriff office. They want to find out what happened. Whatever their evidence may lead, you know, that's something they can deal with. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is that we are here, you are here, to ensure transparency move forward. Because anybody, family, black, white, it doesn't matter race, religion, you will want a thorough investigation to take place for your loved one. You know, you want to know. You want to know what happened. Because that's a sign, that's a start of healing. You know, you have missing persons, you know, people never found for years. Family can't truly heal until they find out. I don't care what it is. So we need to know this family's here, poised, standing here. They have brought us on. And like I said, we're not here to throw darts at anybody. But we are going to throw darts for a lack of transparency and a quick statement to say this is suicide.
Do we know what his, had this not happened, what the rest of his route was supposed to look like after he was done in Henderson, or when he was supposed to get back to Chicago, if all had gone normal?
We don't necessarily have that information. I know he dropped a load here at the Walmart Distribution Center. Like I told you before, he was anticipating to come to Texas to spend times with his cousins. So for a further route, we don't know particularly. That's something that we'll learn moving forward. At the time, his trailer his tractor did not have a trailer, correct? So there was no trailer on the tractor. So whatever load, it was already dropped. So we don't know the exact next route. So any other questions?
Do you know if there were any other truckers parked in that area that night? Or
Yes.
he was by himself?
Yes, I believe there are other truckers parked in the area. From my understanding, my understanding, other truckers.
Any idea how many?
Not at this time.
6 or 7?
We don't know. We don't know. All right, one more question.
Would the family like to just share about him as a person in general? I mean, obviously,
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
He invested in the story.
I think normally, but at this time, I think his family, considering what they just heard from the law enforcement, and I think that given time later on, they will be able to speak out personally themselves about Javion. But just know this: it's an ongoing investigation. No matter cause of death, we seek a transparency truth. So that being said, Lee.
Just one moment. And the family did want to make one statement before they took off. So each member of the family is going to step here. They're going to make a brief statement. They're not going to take any questions. Thank you. They're all together.
I just ask that you guys keep us in prayer.
I do wanna tell I want to thank you guys for your support. Everybody, the world, whoever's seeing, I appreciate, everybody just swiftly supported. And that helped us, to keep us up in our spirits. Nobody out here wanted to hear this kind of news. Nobody, white, black, any nationality wanted to hear this kind of news in 2024. I figured we was done with this. We're not, like you said, we're not pointing your fingers because it's still under investigation. But I do want to let you know what kind of person Javion was. He was very competitive, and when he started driving trucks, I didn't force him to drive trucks. He came to me. He saw my struggle with the trucking industry and having a company, and how now everything's pretty much down. And he saw me go up, and he saw me come down. And then I guess he took it upon himself to step up. Because I said, we as black people, we don't have nobody we can put other people on to business. Like most companies, these big companies, it's generations that form these companies. But they start as one, or maybe two people, and they grow. And so I didn't have nobody to push that on. And he was one of the first people that said, hey, Dad, I'm about to go drive, And I'm like, wow, well, what made you want to do that? He said, I just want to do it. I want to put in my work. And that's just how he was. He wanted everybody to be together. That was his heart. Always, everybody just to come together. And so if this moment can spark anything, if I can tap into him, I would say he wants this country to come together. Not all this divide and stuff. We all need to come together, because if it wasn't no divide, this wouldn't have happened. And I feel like, honestly, if he wasn't here, he would still be alive.
God bless.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what you just saw was Javion Magee's family press conference, talking about the investigation. You can tell that the parents of Javion Magee was there. They hired Lee Merritt to represent them. And before I continue this video, I would like to give a shout out to Intimate One on TikTok for this video. So, as you can tell, that according to one of the attorneys, that Javion has bruises in his body. They did not say that he was either beaten up or what caused the bruise to happen. But yeah, this shows you that there's bruises in his body, and they're right now are trying to find out how that it happened. Unfortunately, they're not going to do no independent autopsy, as you hear what the attorneys were saying. So it seems to me that they claim that there are bruises in his body again, but they're going to evaluate how that had happened. So it's sad, ladies and gentlemen, that this incident will happen. And you heard what they said, that he was headed to Houston, Texas, to meet with his cousins. So because he was excited about going, spending time with his families, spending time with his cousins in Houston. Now here's the thing: if the man was wanted to have self-deletion, why would he? Basically, why would he want to spend time with his family, his cousins, smiling, happy? And they even asked about the rope, and he even explained that sometimes truckers do have to have rope to I mean, sometimes the rigs probably might be messed up, or the door probably might not be messed up, So they may use a rope to try to, make sure that the door, unfortunately, is shut correctly. Anything could be reasons why he bought that rope, but it's still under an investigation. So the reality is that, I mean, again, we heard a police version of it. Now you heard the family's attorneys and families version of what they heard of what happened. So it all leads to it all leads to what really happened that day, right? And so now you think about it, that something's going on here. And the investigators will not tell them what's really going on. They don't want this to be, they just want to know what happened, right? They want to know what happened to Javion Magee and why they found him hanging from the tree. That's it. They want transparency. So again, I'm just giving condolences to the family. I mean, it is heartbreaking to see one of your loved ones found out that he's been hanged from a tree. And then they're going to probably make it like this self-deletion, but there's no evidence or no, you heard him, he don't have no mental health issues. He don't have no issues thinking about self-deletion. There's no note. So if there's no note proving, and again, one of the lawyers why would he come to North Carolina and want to end his life like that? That doesn't make any sense. So y'all, let me know what you think about this in the comments. I mean, it's the investigation is still ongoing, and we still will try to figure out why he ended up hanging from the tree. And for the people like, well, he did board some rope. There's some truck drivers buy a rope just because sometimes something wrong with the door. One of the truck doors is not even closed and have to use a rope to even make sure the door was tight and closed. But there's other reasons why he might buy that rope. But we all know we couldn't tell why. So go ahead and leave the comment. Tell me what you think about this. Oh man, this is crazy. Leave your. I'm sorry, I got. Stuff like this make me upset. But anyway, let me know what you think about this in the comments.